Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Today we're going to be doing a reading on the Spirit of America. We're going to channel the consciousness of the Spirit of America. It was a little bit of a tough week this week in the United States. We had a political assassination happen with Charles Kirk on September 10th, 2025. Now, I have to be honest with you, I did not know who he was until his assassination. As I did some research, I listened to some clips and some videos of his talks. And I have to be honest with you, that I don't support a lot what he promoted. But I believe that there is never any room for violence in American politics. And then the next day, we had the anniversary of 9/11. And I feel that our country is at a crossroads where we can choose to stay united or choose a road of violence and distrust and unrest. And I feel that we need to remember the beautiful spirit of America. There is like a fire that burns within us, that we want to have freedom and justice and liberty. And that is something that truly burns within every American. It does not matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, a liberal or a conservative. We all want to have a strong America. And my heart breaks for the Kirk family. I am very sorry for the loss of Charlie. And I truly wish that his family to really soften their hearts and to really allow God to work within their lives as they face this challenge. And I ask that we continue to keep the peace with America. I ask that we remember 9/11 and how we stood united as one nation. So with that, I would like to ask Spirit to guide us and to really tap in with what message that Spirit of America would like to share with us today. As I shuffle the cards, I'm going to do our protection prayer. At the end of this video, I will be showing you the decks that I've used in this reading. Dear Spirit, I ask that you protect this channel. I ask that you protect everyone that is watching this video. I ask only the lights of being to be with us. I ask, Spirit, that you give us a message from the Spirit of America. May the Spirit of America share their consciousness with us as we find ourselves at this spot in our history. Amen. Okay. Well, let's see what the consciousness of America would like to share with us today. Spirit, may I please have 3 cards to start us off with? Ooh, almost lost the whole deck there. Okay, here's the first card. And I'm going to go with these 2 cards and put these ones back. And I'll show you what these cards. This is the imprint right here. I think I can show you this. And I feel the other one is Sipho Tarot. Ace of Wands. Okay. So the first card is the Priestess. And the first thing that I see is she's like, it almost looked like she was like holding a heart there, but I believe it's like an onion. I believe it's an onion. And I believe she has some paperwork here. But you know what it reminds me of? Is there are multiple layers of like an onion. And it really looks like an onion to me. I don't know if you guys can see that. But what it reminds me of is there's multiple layers to an onion, you know, and you have to slowly peel back the layers. And I almost feel like she's showing the heart. So that is the first card that we have. The second card is the card of death. Now, I'm going to say this, that yes, we did have a spirit, we did have a physical death happen this week. But I truly believe that even though there was a physical death, there's really nothing truly as, how do I say this? There's not truly death. We live on. We go through the veil and our spirit moves on. And so I think what this represents is that there was an ending that was happened on Wednesday. And I'm going to find out what that is. Okay? And our third card is the Hangman. And, you know, that there was a death, a transformation that took place, that someone passed. And I think it also shows that we're in a transition. But what I like about this card, it shows the man being surrounded by light. So I think what Spirit has to say to us is there are multiple layers of what happened. There are multiple, when Spirit of America, when we connect with the consciousness of Spirit of America, there are multiple layers. There is a true direction that is happening. There also is a transition that is taking place. And that each and every one of us are surrounded by, everyone in the United States is surrounded by Spirit. And with Spirit is guiding us as we transition, as a new turn takes place within America. Now, I would like to have some confirmation cards because I want to make sure that I'm reading these cards correctly. So, Spirit, can I please have can I have 3 confirmation cards, please? There's one card. And there's Spirit. Can I have 2 other cards? I feel like this is a card. Freedom. Can I have one more card, please, Spirit? Okay. So this kind of makes me understand a little bit more of what's happening with Spirit of America, the consciousness of it. And so my cards are like driving me crazy. I cannot keep them straight. Okay. So there are multiple layers to Spirit of America, the consciousness of it. And, you know, the death card it remembers what is a true freedom is when you are in death. You no longer have to pay bills. You no longer have to do the human act. And so what this demonstrates is that freedom, that now that there is a death, a transition that happened. And it is the key that for us to open the door to freedom. And as I'm saying this, I'm getting like a huge download. And it was almost like if we didn't have this event, it didn't happen, we were on a projection to really lose our freedom. And I know that sounds really weird because right now, I think a lot of us are afraid that there's going to be a lot of outlash that's going to happen, that we're going to lose our voice, we're going to lose our political rights, and there's a lot of fear in that. But I feel when I got this, is this death had to happen, even though it shouldn't have happened. Does that make sense? That it was a wake-up call to us, that if we don't change our ways, there was going to be death to our freedom. And with this death, we are reflecting and we are opening the door. And that because of this, we will have growth. And I want to make this very clear that the human part of me says, well, why do we have to have death? Why did this death have to happen? No one should die, period. But Charlie was an activist. He spoke for the people. He was, in a way, a mirror for us to see who we are as a country. And because he was such a strong soul, that he signed up, and I don't agree with his thoughts, okay, so you have to understand this, but he truly believed in the spirit of America, but the way he communicated it was very much different than I or many would express it. But with this opportunity to reflect and pause, is we are going to grow. This is kind of a challenging reading because it's like But I have to take it as this is coming from the Spirit of America. So it is very clear that the Spirit of America is here with us. And a part of the Spirit of America is about our freedom and growth. And sometimes there needs to be death for us to grow. And we need to be expended. We need to be floating with no direction for us to have growth. And I'll have to say that, like I said, the human part of me is having a hard time with this, I guess, the programming. You know what I mean? Like, of death. I guess that's what I'm struggling with. I'll be honest with you. But I'm going to be open-minded and, we spirit can have to be card spirit. I need to ask the question, don't I? What is the consciousness with the majority of Americans at this time? Can I have 3 cards? Okay, that card. Well, okay. So the first card that came out was the 8 of Cups. And it's like this cat is sitting on the fence, looking at the moon, and really pondering its relationship, where it stands with its country, where does it stand within this universe, where it stands in this time frame. And a lot of us had to just stop and really check ourselves. And the cups hold water. And it has to do with the relationship. Where do we see us? Where does the average American stand within its country? And the 5 of Wands. And as you can see, this is like these cats are just, they're playing. They're kind of batting, the toy, and they're playing. They're not really fighting with each other, but they're just kind of, I would say, turning up the energy. Really kind of observing and kind of interacting with it. Don't really have a direction, don't really have a cause, just kind of saying what happened doesn't feel right, playing around with the energy. And Wands reminds of Wands can be 2 things. It can be to remember our magic, and also to pick up a stick and fight. But you can see here that these wands, they have a toy at the end that the cats are batting around. And you can say that it's like we're trying to figure out what direction we want to go. Do we want to pick up our swords or our sticks to fight? Or do we want to pick up our wands and to create magic? And then we have the Empress. and that remembers the heart. It is surrounded by light. It is a prince. No, it's not a princess, but it's a imprint. It's it is like we have the opportunity to remember how precious we are as individual Americans, and that we can influence others with our hearts. Spirit, can I have three clarification cards, please? Can I have two more cards, please? Thank you. So, as we were saying, is we can have our trumpet and we can pick up our trumpet and we can call to the moon. We can pick up our pitchforks and we have the foot. So this is very interesting because we have to have, as we ponder where we are, we need to remember that we have a voice. We have a say in where we want our government to go. It's not just about observing of what's happening and where we stand in this. We have a voice as Americans. We can choose to pick up our pick forks and poke, or we can use it as a wand. And that clarifies what I've said. This also reminds us that we need to stay grounded. And that's something really important that says here, that shows here too, that we need to stay grounded. We need to stay present. We need to stay on our foot, in our place. And don't back down of who we are as a country. I'm going to ask, Spirit, can you show us where we are going as a country? Where is the spirit of America going? Why do we need to learn these lessons at this time? Why do we need to learn these lessons? Justice. Oh, that just came right out. The Eight of Swords. Okay, I want to really mix these. Okay. All right. And the Three of Cups. is that there is some justice that needs to happen. There are some things karmically we have to face as a nation. And we cannot move forward until we have justice. The Knight of Swords. And you see this person like in a spacesuit with a space gun. And it's almost like we have to become right with each other before we can expand our connection with the rest of the universe. Three of Cups has to do with relationship. And it's truly, we have to come together with our mind, our spirit, and with our strength. Another way you can look at this is we need to become united with our spirit, our collective, and with our country. Or you can look at it as we need to be united with our father, with our mother, and with our brother. And each of those definitions that I gave with that card fits for that card. Okay. Can I have some confirmation cards? Why do we need to have some karmical justice at this time, Spirit? Why do we need to live through this? Why do we need to have this karma justice happen to us? What is that about? What is that influencing? Why do we need that? Why? For rebirth. For rebirth. For us to grow, we need to have rebirth. Look at that. I mean, growth in the moon. Restore. We need to, for us to move forward as a country with the spirit, we have to have some karmic justice for us to be reborn. And this is going to allow us to heal our land, our history, the choices that we have made in a negative way, before we can start building relationships with our collective countries, with our collective, as a collective. We need this to happen before, if we can't heal the things that we have done wrong as a country, we can't heal our world. If we can't heal what's happening on this planet, we are going to continue to be blocked spiritually with the connection that we have with, I don't even know what to call it. I don't think there's a word out there, but it's like the collective of I want to say it's not, it's the collective of the solar system. We cannot know about the other beings. We cannot have an open relationship with the other beings until we heal what's happened in this country, on this planet, so then we can restore ourselves. You know, we can restore the relationships that we've had, and that we can, oh, I just said that. I was not even looking at, I mean, I was looking at that word, but I wasn't reading that word. Does that make any sense at all? I was actually looking at this car. But we have to for this to happen, we have to restore the relationships that we have on this planet, so we can have a clean slate, so we can connect with other beings from other planets. Isn't that interesting? Okay. So, can I have 2 cards to kind of finishing up this reading? 2 cards. Spirit, what do you... Well, this card came out. So this is protection. That when we're going through this crossroads with the collective, with the United States, that we are going to be protected. Spirit is really putting a veil over us and really protecting us as we live out this karmic debt that we have created as a country. And that means multiple things. That Spirit is going to really allow us to work through these emotions, these feelings, and also going to protect us from, we can't really move to like a new earth or have the veil removed from us until we've worked through these karmic debts. I'm going to put this card right here. And, and these are like 2 witches, you know, putting a potion in. And that we need to come together. We need to come together and realize that we are a melting pot, that we have different ideas, we have different theology, we have different ways of being, but we need to come together. And it's almost like we need to create a potion of how we are going to come together. How are we going to create this environment? And I do want to read each column as we go, okay? So the Spirit of America, it has many layers. It has a strong direction. Spirit is with it. We can sit and we can observe, but we always need to remember that we have a voice. We have a trumpet. And what we're going through is a karmic debt. And once we get through this, we will be rebirth. But until that happens, we will be protected by Spirit. And a veil will be over us. And the only way that we can move forward is if we come together. We have just ended a cycle that stopped us from creating death. And with that is the key to our freedom. That we have the power to pick up our wands or pick up our swords. And if we choose to pick up our swords, there'll be a pitchfork, there'll be a devising, there'll be... But if we choose to pick up our wands, that magic will happen, that transformation will happen, and that we cannot move forward until we come right with ourselves as a nation, as a country, as a world, so we can have growth. And during our growth, we will be protected, as Spirit encourages us to come together and create magic. A hangman. We are being held, suspended, surrounded by Spirit as we grow and remember our power of who we are. We are mind, we are spirit, we are heart. We are important. We are beacons of light. We must stay grounded as we heal the relationships with our fellow mother, father, and brother. And with that, we'll restore the relationship. And we will always be protected as we come together and talk about our theologies, our ideas, and only with that will produce magic. I want to thank you so much for listening to this reading. It was a little bit of a challenging reading because I'm a human being. There are definitely some programming that I am working through, that I know that at the end of the day, that we are always guided and we're always protected. And magic will always happen with Spirit. And it's important that we continue to keep the flame of the Spirit of America within us as we are facing some karmic debt. I truly hope that you will constantly pray for our country. If you're from outside of the United States, please pray for us. This is very important that we all heal the wrongs that we have done, so we can expand our consciousness and we can start building with, I don't even know what to call them, the collective of the universe, the other beings that provide, live, connect with us in this universe. And I mean aliens, I mean other light beings, through the veil, without the veil, spaceships, connections. I don't know exactly what you call them. But we can't have those relationships until we build a relationship with our brother and with our father and with our mother. And the cards that I used today, the Sci-Fi Tarot, the Seasons of the Witch, And last but not least is Into the Void, the cat one. Thank you so much. I truly hope everyone has a blessed day. Remember, each and every American, we are the key to freedom. Keep your spirits high and trust in the spirit of America. Trust in spirit as we travel through this journey. Bye, everybody.